there seems to be an endless amount of emotions, but at the end of the day, you can compartmentalize in a few. And what makes an artist, as we understand it today, powerful is that that artist is able to communicate that specific compartment of emotion. Let's say sadness. Sadness, aka it's raining. So that artist is able to feel his or her sadness extremely precisely, and by developing the technique is able to communicate it via an instrument or sound or voice or whatever medium they're using. But at the end of the day, they're communicating rain. It's their version of rain. So let's say it's Marilyn Manson. Was that his name? It's very particular. So some people will relate to that kind of rain. It's acid fucking rain. But it's still rain. So me, I can listen to it very quickly and understand this is a rainy song. For example, mixed with a little bit of anger, mixed with a little bit of lust, mixed with a little bit of suicidal tendencies. All of these exist in everybody. They're kind of like universal, let's say, emotions to simplify. So an artist that's really good is able to communicate purely an emotion. Then he may have his or her twist to that emotional experience that may draw in a certain kind of person. But let's say he or she is communicating rain. Yeah, but rain is universal. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? That means that any person who has rain inside of them is experiencing rain or has experienced rain. If that artist is good, I recognize the rain. Now, a lot of people are numb to themselves, or they can only feel it this much. And what makes what's his name? White Iverson. Post Malone, right? That's a psycho dude, right? As arts is understood today, that he's got an extremely powerful skill. He's able to lose himself in an emotion and really communicate it. So when I fall apart, and the sound is really I fall apart. He's clearly on drugs, right? Or has been on drugs, or a mix of a bunch of things plus alcohol. This is irrelevant. This is another conversation to have. But he really communicates that. You can feel it. It's in the vibration. He's really good at then expressing it sonically. That's why he had to go away from rap, because rap limits you to a certain kind of bandwidth of, like, you can't go too far. It's just, that's what it does. So I need more instruments, I need more space to communicate this, which is not rap. Hip hop doesn't speak that. Right? So a lot of people feel this way. Maybe this much, this much, this much. He's feeling it this much. See what I'm trying to say? So when you're listening to the music, it's like he's giving you the coordinates to feeling it this much. So it gives you a form of release in a way, because now you feel your emotion, but now you can really, through his sound, dive into the full emotionality. You don't have to stay here. You can live it more fully, more wholly, right? But you didn't figure out how to get to it on your own. So it's kind of like giving you coordinates to it at its root or at a deeper place. Via his sound, you can have access to it, but it's not your sound. It's not a real sound. It's not the universal sound. So through his song, you can travel to that coordinate if you know how to listen to music. And everybody prides themselves to be the greatest musician or the greatest music lover on earth. That's another conversation. And then you have that, it seems like you're now able to be or swim in the lake of that emotionality. And it gives you freedom. Well, freedom from pretending that you're not sad. Or freedom from holding your sadness to just this. And now you're like guided. You're under the impression that you're this is subtle, okay? Because it's magic, okay? It's witchcraft. So I'm careful, but I want to stay, I just want to explain its universal appeal. So through his song, it's like giving me a passage, offering me a passageway to a deeper experience of that rain or whatever other sunset, sunrise at 8 in the morning, the sun at 9:15, right? You can, that's why I love Indian music, because there's a more mature understanding of sound and the root of sound. Root of sound comes from basic natural, like every part of the day has its own vibe, feeling. Nature has its feelings. When it rains at that time of the day, right? And they're trying to communicate those. So what I'm trying to say is that there's nothing, nobody invents anything. So your artist is not inventing something. He's connecting to something that everybody lives. And maybe he's able to communicate it more clearly than another person, or in a way that resonates with you a little more than another. Right, fine. But he's just, sadness is normal. Everybody feels sad. There's nothing wrong with sadness. Sadness becomes a problem when you're stuck in it. Just like anything else in life. When you don't have the fluidity to, well, it's raining. Yeah, but does it rain forever? I've never heard of it raining forever. So it rains. Let's say it's the west coast of Canada. It rains for a week, 2 weeks. And then it stops raining and then the sun rises. So nothing in nature, everything in nature is always in motion. And same inside the human beings that's healthy. So it's normal. Your nervous system, your mind, your hormonal system has to go through, it moves, it tonifies it. It's normal to feel sadness. And when you're sad, there's a natural, you recollect yourself. You push away the ego, you push away all the hype, all the excitement. It's a rainy day, and you reflect. But you're not reflecting on things from an enthusiastic place. You're reflecting on things of, there's a death. That's gone. That's over. Yeah, but you need to delete to be able to reboot or to recharge or to upload something new. So all these emotions that today have become like deified, first of all, today they're totally out of balance. People are completely out of balance. But what I'm trying to say is that at the root, all of those basic archetypal emotions are natural. You find them in nature. That's why I use the example of, it's a sunny day at noon on the 21st of June. It's got a particular vibe. And people who have a greater sense of astrology or astronomy know, well, this is a sun in Leo. What Leo's sun has got a particular, the sun is hitting from a particular angle. The vibe is particular. Now it's autumn. I know autumn very well. I'm born in autumn. I love autumn. The light is very particular from the angle the sun is at. It's always some kind of like, one side is much more highlighted. There's a shade that you don't find in the summer, because the summer light is coming from above. I love that shade. It creates a whole different vibe. It's like half-half. Part of it is like, there's like a shadow. It's not a shadow. It's just a side is not as illuminated. That's a vibe. That's a feeling. What I'm trying to say is that in nature, there are feelings. And these are universal feelings that human beings also go through, but they go out of balance. And when a person is stuck in emotion, they just jam there and they don't have the fluidity to move and get stuck there. So your average person today is totally out of balance, stuck in certain kinds of patterns of emotionality. And then the musician who's now a specialist of that particular feeling. Eminem is a specialist of anger mixed with helplessness, because we could just like make a fruit salad. I don't want to get lost in this. It could be fun, but not now. So everybody feels that. I'm annoyed. I'm frustrated. So let's say you listen to that sound. Well, he's like communicating it, or at least it was before, so precisely. And if you can't live that, your own frustration and the spectrum of it, you can't live it for yourself because you don't authorize yourself, because you're unable to, because you're not strong enough, because you're not, whatever. The artist is giving you a gift saying, listen, me, I specialize in burning in my anger. The artist has to pay that he's lost in an emotion all the time. That's why they go nuts. That's why they consume drugs all the time. And on top of that, their celebrity status comes from that emotion. That emotion is their fucking God. It takes everything from them. They never have, if Eminem's not angry, it's not Eminem. if what's his name, the Nirvana dude, Kurt Cobain, isn't suicidal, it's not Kurt Cobain. What made the sound so precise is because he's suicidal. And that's his basic drone, and then you can add different tonalities. Suicidal, my girlfriend broke up. Suicidal, I'm annoyed. Suicidal, it's a sunny day. Maybe today I'm not killing myself. I'm suicidal, jump in a lake. Suicidal, I'm fucking doing it. But not really. Suicidal, I think it's it, that's it. But that's his basic drone. If he wasn't always and so effectively drowned in that feeling inside of him, he wouldn't be Kurt Cobain. Nobody would listen to it because he wouldn't be able to make that. Everybody has a suicidal tendencies inside of themselves, even just a little bit. I don't want to live. And what makes a person suicidal in the true sense is that that little thing takes all the space. So if he makes a sound, and you're in that mood, or that lives inside of you, it's like he's communicating that, he's voicing it for me. It gives me a sense of liberation. Has it really changed anything? At the end of the day, nothing. When the song is over, you're back to your normal crystallized self. Have you solved the issue? No. Maybe you shed a couple of tears. It doesn't matter. Shedding tears is just evacuating a little bit of pressure, but you haven't solved the problem that creates the pressure rise. So once the song is done, that's why people listen to it in loop. They're trying to get as much as you can from the song, and then after a couple of times, it doesn't work anymore, and your mind isn't attentive because it's not your emotion. You're riding on his, and once you can only get this much release, and release doesn't mean you've solved the problem. So once you finish listening to the song, you haven't solved your issue. Whatever is exaggerating your so-called suicidal tendencies or your sadness isn't resolved. You're exactly at the same place you were before. If the artist is really good and it's a good day for you, maybe you got a little bit of release, shed a couple of tears, or you got hyped for a couple of minutes. Anyways, I'm combining a lot of elements regarding artistry. One thing is for sure, those artists are extremely good. Well, number one, they're very honest in regards to, I have that emotion, and that person, because most people are not honest. So that person's super honest in regards to that emotion. 99% of him is still unconscious, or 90%. But in regards to that emotion that artist specializes in, he or she is so fucking honest. It's Mary J. Blige. She's always in love, always brokenhearted, always picking herself back again and believing in love. That's the essence, the end all and be all of Mary J. Blige. That's all she's got. Yeah, but nobody communicates it as well as that, and so many people relate to that madness. I'm in love again, and here we go again. The roller coaster starts again. I had a whole skit on Mary J. Blige in previous videos. The point is, that artist has a form of honesty that your average person doesn't have. That's why people appreciate them so much, because there's a form of honesty in regards to that tone that they communicate. Then that they can develop the skill set to communicate it. Art for me, let's say you sing. That's like talking. It's a skill set. There's an art form to it. Or playing the guitar, or whatever instrument it is, or 16 bars. It doesn't really matter. That's an art form. Yeah, but you got to feel something. No matter how good you are with a guitar, it doesn't matter. If you don't feel fuck all, you're playing nonsense. Unless you're a technical genius and you can trick people into thinking that there's a juice, which is another subject. I don't want to get into that. But at the end of the day, what makes an artist powerful is not the technique. It's I can feel something. Then the technique is necessary, because otherwise it lacks a certain kind of professionalism that makes it easily digestible for people. It's easy. It's like when you read a text, the text is good, but it's badly written. Some people may have a lot of trouble. They get very annoyed. The comma's not in the right place. There's spelling mistakes. It's like because they're geeks. So when everything is right, there's no friction. So the artistic talent to remove the friction in the communication of the emotion. So not everybody has both. And then there's the distribution in a business aspect. Let's not talk about that today. So anyways, all this to say, not a lot of people can do that. That's a gift, quote unquote, an artist offers you. But if we're really honest, that person is technically vomiting on you his emotions. Let's be straight. And if it wasn't for the fact that your life is empty and you can't feel yourself, and in order to feel yourself, you need somebody to vomit on you or aggress you, right? Because I wouldn't listen to that music myself today. Once upon a time, I used to listen to this. I would never listen to this today. It's noise. Well, why is it noise? I don't want you screaming at me. Why are you screaming at me? And this psychopath, like you want to kill yourself. Why the hell would I want to listen? I have a friend of mine, that's the Bulgarian Marco. He liked this dude called Mac Miller. So it's not for me, right? It's a few generations after me. So I said, let me hear some of this nonsense. So I listened to it. I'm like, this guy's very good at doing later, not the start stuff. It's a little gay, high schoolish, but then as he gets to become more and more himself, suicidal, a junkie lost in pseudo-metaphysical thoughts. Anyways, the point is, he's very good at communicating his affairs. But I can't listen to that music. Why? You're disturbing me. My mind has a certain kind of like equipoise, that means a balance, and your noise is trying to take me out of balance. I don't want to listen to this. This is fucking noise. So the more you internally have some kind of harmony, the less you want to hear other noises that take you out of harmony. I'm not sad. My sadness, it's not raining. And when it's raining, I processed what I had to process. So now I'm in the middle. So why the hell would I want to listen to rainy music on a sunny day? And then why would I want to listen to rainy music that's so out of balance? I'm not out of balance. So when I'm feeling sad, I don't need your noise to drown out how I really feel. I want to feel what I feel. I don't need your shit to make me feel my shit. If you understand what I mean. So when you start to have your own inner space and you understand your own internal vista, you immediately start to recognize what this is. This is noise. They're vomiting their shit on me. And I'm taking it in because I'm numb. And their music is raping me. And that rape is giving me a sensation. They're irritating. And then when you get into the science of the music making, how the instruments work, what the instruments are, the machines, the sounds, which is another conversation we'll have later, you understand this is rape. I'm not saying this in a negative way. It sounds negative, but it's not. It's what it is, right? It's an aggression. How about that? We'll remove the word rape. It's an aggression to your nervous system. Non-stop. More. And you just take it in, and they'll oblige you now to go on that ride. They'll oblige you to feel that. They'll take you where in the hell they are. And what are you going to do? So now your attention, this is when we get to metaphysical stuff. Now your attention is on that pathway. But like I said, an emotion is a power. And that person is addicted to that power. The more a person feels an emotion and the more they surrender to the emotion, the more they have a certain kind of power. So that emotion, imagine you personified it. It's an entity. And there's nuances to it. So now you're coming in and you're now feeding that entity that he's a slave of. So now this is the metaphysical aspects to it. In return for that momentary release that you got, you are feeding that entity that lives in him. That entity, let's say it's not really rain. Rain doesn't need shit from you. You understand? Distorted acid rain that's out of balance, it's no longer plugged into the grid of nature. It's a parasite, and it feeds off of that person and is using that person to go draw attention via art so that you and thousands and millions of people feed it via that moron, that individual that pretends to be an artist. So I don't want to remove the fact that there's a skill to what he's doing or she's doing. I'm not removing that. I'm saying that at the end of the day, once you start to find some kind of mental balance, you start to see it for what it is. This is vomit. You're vomiting on me. Now, why do I tolerate vomit? Because I'm numb. I don't feel anything. And when you come, you emit a feeling. Ain't that right? And I want to feel something. So you are the activator of that feeling to which I resonate with. and here you go. So for your average individual who lives a numb life, they wake up, they go to work or school, and they hate it. Mostly. They're stressed, worried, 1,001 problems. There's no order in their lives. Literally, none. Everything is a chaos. The only way they can have a moment of repose is by watching television, their telephone, or some kind of drug, or a pseudo sex. This is your average person. Their life is in shambles. There's not one aspect of their life, generally, it's all a mess. So people by default harden themselves in order to be able to go through their days. You got to go to work and do a job you hate 5-6 days a week forever. You're numb. I've had shit jobs. You're numb, and then you have to have a lifestyle that allows you to do that. So when you are numb all the time, you're numb to yourself. That's what I'm trying to say. So if I'm numb to myself, there's no juice, rasas. So there's nothing circulating in me. And here comes the artist who is drowned in, let's say, one emotional. That's all he or they live. So now they're putting they're vomiting that emotion on a CD or a MP3, whatever the fuck, on your Spotify, and then you consume that, and they make that in you start to move. So for a moment, I'm feeling gay, sad, joy, lustful, horny, excited, hyped, angry, motivated, depressed, suicidal. Then we create pockets of mixtures because you know how eclectic music is nowadays. But at the end, so that's why your average person, this man is a guy stuck in traffic for 1 hour and a half. I used to have to go to school from the suburbs down to all the way downtown. Every fucking day we had to go. It's like 45 minutes to an hour, and then it gets worse in bigger cities. Stuck in traffic. Going, coming back. Boom, to go to class that I hate. I'm telling you, they're putting on the radio, or had my CDs back in the days, and I'm listening to stuff that gives me whatever, that nourishes me or gives me the experience I want to live. Or helps me to stay in a certain kind of mood. Right, at some point I had a girlfriend, we broke up, I was very sad. It was 1996, so Tony Braxton's song, Unbreak My Heart, was there. It played all the time. So I leave school, it's rush hour, it's playing on every channel, Unbreak My Heart. And she's, how lovely her broken heart is. And she wants it, and I wanted my heart unbroken. So it was perfect for me, it just kept me in that, well, I was numb, the pain was there, then it gets numb because of your day, and then Unbreak Your Heart comes, and you're just like wallowing. Now I have a feeling, now I have a drug, now I'm like bathing in this world with Tony. The point of what I was trying to say is that your average individual is for the most part numb or has very little ability to actually perceive or feel properly and clearly what it is that they're feeling. And when the artist comes who's drenched in an emotionality, then helps you or gives you the impression that they're helping you by feeling and pushing you into that emotionality. And they hold you there via their sound waves. Like I said, if you were a sane person, you'd never listen to this. I don't want to listen to some idiot screaming. I don't want to listen, like, check this out. In the 90s, Dr. Dre came out, and Dr. Dre found a formula, and all his new rappers would say, my name is. What's my motherfucking name? Snoop Dogg, Dogg. So his showcases started, and that was their presentation. So you're liking the song, and here you are like an imbecile, singing the name of somebody else. What's my motherfucking name? Everybody's Snoop Dogg. Imagine, what's my name? Slim Shady. Slim Shady. You're not Slim Shady, in case you didn't know, you fucking imbecile. Why the hell would you want to say somebody else's name in your stead? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? That's because you're mentally confused. And so what's his song saying? His song is literally saying, and if you listen to the lyrics, you're shit, I'm God, sing my name. Essentially, he stuck his cock up your ass. You're his bitch. You're singing his name. Snoop Dogg. But it's so good. Of course, it's Snoop. Calvin is awesome. Shout out to fucking Calvin. It doesn't matter. He just shoved his cock up your ass, and here you are singing his name. You've just bowed to him. Now, what kind of sane person with a sane mind would bow to such a creature? Now, I have nothing against that individual or any other individual, but clearly that person is not worthy of you bowing to him. Here you are taking it up your ass. So again, I reiterate, when your mind starts to find some kind of inner peace or inner silence, and you're able to process and you're able to feel and process your own emotions, your own thought patterns, you don't want somebody else's influence because it disturbs you. And also, the music is spiked. Besides the fact that the artist has his own agenda and the artist is controlled by an entity, there's the whole corporate agenda behind it. So it's unpure. It's like cheap cocaine. It's mixed and cut with so much junk. It's not even pure anymore. So why would a sane person want to disturb their own mind or their own inner process with noise? That's a question. So your average person today, that's how they deal with stuff. But at the end of the day, nothing's changed. You haven't dealt with anything. You haven't really had a release. Release means you solve the problem. There is no real release unless the problem is solved. A tension is due to a problem that is not resolved. The release of a tension is due to the resolution of the problem. So if I have an infection and I squeeze the pus out, I haven't solved the infection, have I? So that's what your average music, if it's good, allows you to have. You remove a little bit of the pressure. That's me fart, is it, in case you didn't know. Right? It relieved a little bit of the pressure. So for your average person who's so full of pressure, I can sympathize that for them that may be of service. But why don't you just solve your issue? And why is nobody educating you on how to solve your actual problems so that you don't have to consume shit to have the impression that it alleviates your pressure? Like exhale. You understand what I'm trying to say? This is very profound. But not really. If you have to understand how humans function, you have to understand emotions, you have to understand how the mind operates so that all of this becomes super clear. So this is not a disrespect to the artist. This is just me being straight up and saying, well, this is what it is. If you think that this imbecile singing at you and barking at you, I'm not talking about Snoop, I'm talking about a bunch of morons that came after, barking at you, laughing at you, mocking you, telling you how you are shit and he's better than you. And if you think that that's offering you a gift, you must be really confused. He's fucking you up your ass. Maybe that's giving you the release that you need because maybe you're, unbeknownst to yourself, a homosexual. I don't know. But one thing is for sure, you need some kind of release and you're not able to find it on your own. So that person obliges and literally rapes you with his sound while pretending that it's from the heart or it's genuine. No. These are artists. These are magicians. Never forget this. Some people forget that. I'm just like blabbering nonstop. Never forget this. Artists, and this is part of their skill set, are magicians. Never forget that. An actor's job is to convey an emotion that person doesn't. I don't have an emotion right now. I'm playing the role. Let's say the role is I'm a gangster, and I'm going to convey to you the emotions of a gangster. And if the artist is good, you who's watching it has the impression. You have the impression that you're watching somebody real, and you are now feeling by resonance the emotion of a fake person played by an actor who maybe just took a shit 4 seconds ago in their trailer and then just went on scene. In other words, it's magic. It's an illusion. It's not real. So you understand now that the actor is playing his magic, doing a magic trick on you to give you the impression that you're having an experience. That's the skill set. So there's a lot of manipulation. That's what artists do. They can manipulate you through and via your emotions. And because you're so emotionally unintelligent, you're manipulable. So when you're listening to those sounds, you have the impression that you're receiving a gift, but quite often you're being fucked. Like I told you, a person who wants to suck your attention, and then it stays in your head obsessively. Anyways, all this to say, there's a whole occult aspect to the arts. There's a whole occult aspect to the music, which we're starting to touch, but that was the introduction.